I Loved You Before I Was Born. A poem by Lee Young Lee. I loved you before I was born. It doesn't make sense, I know. I saw your eyes before I had eyes to see, and I've lived longing for your ever look ever since. That longing entered time as this body, and the longing grew as this body waxed, and the longing grows as this body wanes. And the longing will outlive this body. I loved you before I was born. It doesn't make sense, I know. Long before eternity, I caught a glimpse of your neck and shoulders, your ankles and toes, and I've been lonely for you from that instant. That loneliness appeared on earth as this body, and my share of time has been nothing but your name outrunning my ever saying it clearly, your face fleeing my ever kissing it firmly once on the mouth. In longing I am most myself, wrapped, my lamp mortal, my light hidden and singing. I give you my blank heart. Please write on it what you wish.
Uduasha City, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow, where dancers cavort in forbidden operas, making love to forgetting and flame, where the wealthy play at war with silver swords and silken sashes, where the people mine the dead heart of a burning star for cannonballs and pipework, and where 1,000 secrets hide in a forest of paper and ink. Here the 5 keybearers reside, the 5 who know the secrets of the broken gates of death. 5 only. There is no 6th spire, forlorn and forgotten in the desert. There is no one who looks to the displaced, the poor and destitute and landless, whose ancestry has been stripped from them by foreign looms and foreign sparkcraft, and no one has ever heard of the House of Endings. But this is their story. Their roots pulled up and burned, they stand in filth up to their necks, and that is precisely why they must keep their heads ever high. Welcome to Uduasha, immigrant. May it fear the name of the house you will build. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about characters with their identities in peril, played by an international cast devoted to fiction-first gaming, collaborative world-building, and complex character drama. Welcome back to Desperate Attune and to the Kethrisi independence movement. Some things are happening, and our Rising Moon Sword School at present is full on in the midst of creating a nation, of spurring on a movement within the community of Kethris, and of some long-term projects were started last time. The most relevant and impactful of which probably is that Saeeda has spoken all 5 names of the Prince of Endings, and the god that Saeeda has been trying to construct for pretty much our entire story is manifested. There is a 6th demon house, and there is a 6th demon prince, at least ostensibly.
Prince, would you like to share all 5 names with the audience again as a refresher?
Yes, so we have had previously the House of Anixis, the shadowy stealthy house, the House of Anserek, the builders and strong people, the House of Anrakis, which is the artists and the creatives, the House of Ankayat, which is the scholars and sages, and the last house being
Ankuset.
Ankuset, yes, the basically the police force.
Yeah, what I meant was the 5 names of the prince.
Ah, yes, the 5 names.
But it would have been. It would have been incredible if, now that I think about it, the 5 names of the Prince of Endings were the 5 demon houses. Wow.
Ah, yeah.
I was
Really?
thinking five names that Prince has gone by in the past.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, also, yeah, very reasonable.
Yeah, I have a couple. Anyway, yes. Tree, I think. Saeeda did this and brought about the Prince of Endings as the 6th demon prince. Those were the other 5s that are just the other 5 demon houses. Do you want
Correct.
to read me the 5 names of the Prince of Endings?
Yes, of course I do. And the way that I will do that is that I am going to look them up because I don't know them off by heart.
It's on the
I
crew sheet.
pretty much deleted much of Saeeda's character from my brain because living with it was a bit stressful. Yes, the 5 names of the Prince of Endings who was cast out into the wilderness after it was done. Khatam, which is, of course, his first name, being the end. Sirius, for the brightness of the star when he fell to the earth. Bidrohi, for daring to challenge his brothers. Though, as we know, demon princes have neither gender nor family. Salman, the face of lies. And Anketris, who I am playing today, or I will attempt to play today.
Indeed. Saeeda is dead, and one of the names of the demon prince has taken her place. And
Yes.
yeah, it is a tumultuous time in Uduasha, a time of revolution, a time perhaps for Kethris to break away, and a time when the movement needs a lot of money and when players in the city sense an opportunity. And yeah, it is highly possible that the demon houses ruling Uduasha will be destabilized. And indeed, if they aren't, then the Kethrisi cause and our protagonists are probably going to, well, die. Like, if this doesn't work out, then the demon houses are coming for you. Fortunately, there is a lot of political instability, and it is a time of opportunities, and also a time of very great danger. And so we return to our protagonists as the Rising Moon Sword School is preparing to, well, take their money back from the Majesty Bank. You still don't have a clear angle of how you will do so, but it has been the intended angle for some time. And this is also good because essentially robbing the biggest bank is something that would heavily destabilize Uduasha and throw a wrench in the works of the great houses.
I presume that the great houses are taking proactive measures to prevent this as well.
Well, not you robbing the bank because they don't know that you are robbing the bank, but absolutely taking proactive measures to come track you down and destroy you. Yes.
They know
That's
where
the
we
thing.
live.
Yeah.
They gave
Precisely.
us our house.
Yes. Which is why you have been hiding out in Morpheus' basement.
Mhm. R.I.P. in peace.
Yes. So you have gone underground, really, and that's where we're at.
Muy bien.
Yeah. I realized I
we-
didn't do the introductions. We all just I went straight into introducing the storylines.
Hello, my
But-
I was
name
gonna
is
say-
Zoheb.
Yeah.
I'm known as Klow.
Mhm. Yes.
Is that it?
You yes,
am
you
I
have
Would
been
correct?
anyone?
yes.
Yes.
Tree, you have spoken. You have told us many names, one of which is Tree.
Yes.
Uh,
I shall now remain silent.
We also have with us Clem, played by Salty.
Hola, soy Salty, mi pronombre son ellos y ellas. Soy el mundo lo que está muerto puede que nunca muero. ¿Cómo estás, Prince?
Yeah.
అన్నా ఇలాంటి నిజంగా నేను అడుగుతున్నా ఎందుకు చెప్పండి మీరు వేరే పర్లేదా
Why are you speaking your native language? Salty wasn't speaking their native language.
Arguably, this is not my native language either. What's it to you?
Yes, this is going to be a headache to edit.
Yes.
Also, hi Aadiyat.
Hi,
Thank you for
and
playing along.
yeah, and like Salty, I'm also not speaking my native language.
Yes,
Ha-ha-ha.
indeed.
Very funny.
Mm.
Yes. So that's introductions done, and that's bringing you up to speed on what's been going on here in the city of Uduasha. And now, stuff and things. Who would like to start?
Indeed. I invite Zoheb to go first.
No, I went first last time. People saw a lot of me.
Shit.
We should probably
Yeah, we
start
can-
with some of the people who didn't get that much spotlight, like Clem and Mushfiq.
Yes, so I could go, and in fact, maybe Clem and Frick could have some kind of scene together where they talk about their feelings and such.
That sounds
Well,
good.
the last time we saw Clem was clutching a knife looking at what became of Saeeda.
Yeah, maybe I assume we've dealt with that. We've
I don't know.
have we dealt with that?
I
'Cause-
don't. I think it'd be interesting to see that.
Okay,
But,
why don't we start there?
Yeah.
It's a reasonable place to begin. So, Sri and Ketris, I think in order to not have this be, like, to not linger too long on misunderstandings, right?
Mhm.
I think you have Bound in Darkness, which I think means that everyone instinctively knows that Saeeda is dead. There is no mistaking this thing that has taken Saeeda's place for Saeeda. Like,
this makes
that is
sense.
not possible.
Oh
but-
man, wait, are you so then are you also bound in darkness to literally your god?
I mean, I think that is the answer, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So I think,
Okay.
like, yeah, whatever you are playing right now, Tree is also Bound in Darkness, because the
Yes.
Bound in Darkness power is something granted by the Prince of Endings. So I think that Clem and Mushfiq, you stand over. Was everyone in the scene even as Saeeda died?
Yes,
Yeah.
everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Then this is a great opener, I think. So you stand over this thing that once was Saeeda and now is something else tied to the Prince of Endings. And that's where we pick up the scene.
Okay, so Saeeda passing away actually is, I think, I think I was being a bit callous when I said that. Have we just dealt with that? Because we wouldn't have just dealt with that because someone died,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you know, but they haven't
Mhm.
really died. Their body's still here, but
Yeah, it's a confusing and perplexing situation. Saeeda has kind of
yes,
died / ascended to a higher plane of existence. So
yeah, and
Yeah.
we've established that us Ketrasi, we have certain rituals with the dead where the spirits go into trees, and that presumably hasn't happened here.
no.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So we're all over Saeeda's body, which is still breathing, but we somehow just know that it's not Saeeda anymore.
I'm not over. I'm under. Saeeda's on top of me.
Yeah.
Okay. In that
Yes.
case,
Yeah.
let's
I
get
think you
Saeeda-
feel a shift occurring of this nature, and you feel like Saeeda's presence disappearing.
Well, since Bidra is under Saeeda's body, let's help him out first, and I think Mushfiq will just try to lift Saeeda up. Well, both to check what's going on and to get Bidra from out under there. And I think maybe just the touch alone is enough to go that there's some other presence here.
Yeah. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and then I think after picking them up, Mushfiq would just go. It just says in general to the room that this is not Saeeda. It's not Saeeda. It's not. It's someone else.
Whoever it is, they're very heavy, Sharikatam.
So I guess maybe that's the clue. Saeeda is famously light.
Indeed. Oh yeah, you're right. You are absolutely correct. Actually, wow. Yes. Someone may need to beat me, like getting a baby when a baby is born and the doctor slaps its bum so that it starts to cry like that. What? Doctors do that, man. I don't know what you want from me.
Mushfiq knows nothing about childbirth. Someone else has to jump in.
Oh no, sorry. This is me saying to Clem. Clem actually punching me is constructive.
All right, maybe Mushfiq then looks at Clem with with an expression that says, "What do we do? This is a very heavy non-Saeeda person that I'm holding here who's crushing the trade."
Why are you looking at Clem? Just because they could physically give birth doesn't mean they know anything about
There's no one
that.
else here.
Pilot,
Oh, I
please.
figured that you were in the mood to punch anyway. Is your gender not punch?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got me there. You got me there.
Hey man, I'm going to lose
Yeah.
my arm.
I think Clem has the knife at the ready and squats down next to Shri and Cathris. So, who the fuck are you then?
And the last name. I have been called here. I am fate in the face of destruction.
Guys, this isn't even the top 5 weird Ustad Saeeda moments. Please remove her from my chest and then have conversation.
Let's
How strange to have a body. And then I think it's gonna get up. How
Oh,
strange to move. You
What the hell did
You
you do,
are-
Saeeda?
I did nothing. But Saeeda An Khatam, that was their name. They called me here. They used their ending to call me. And the King of Beginnings begins. I am a weapon.
Considering how much Saeeda has talked about this, like, this is
It
interesting
is.
because you're basically saying the prophecy is fulfilled, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking and I'm putting 2 and 2 together while rubbing
Yeah.
my arm.
Mm.
Wait. Are you Prince Khatam?
No, never.
Oh, for
Are
fuck's
you-
sake.
The prince cannot be contained within a single body. I am a fraction of one of his names.
So where's the rest of you? Saeeda spoke 5 names.
Yes.
If you're one, there are other 4 somewhere out there.
You have already
I
met
think-
one, I think. The
Uh-huh.
King of Lies.
And I think even now, a thing that happens here, because we're in the end game, fuck it, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
what happens here, I think, is that you become aware of like a sliver of this bound in
Mhm.
darkness thing, a sliver of this connections that you as a
Mm.
crew have had to each other, spreading like wildfire as a result of the incarnation of the Prince of
Yes.
Endings. And
Yeah.
you have like a dim awareness of the prince spreading out like a meme, I guess, basically like an idea leaping from person to person in the Kethrisi community.
And beyond, right? Because I think
Yeah.
one of the things that we're doing, that like one of the new things is that non-Kethrisi, like we are building something that everybody can join, right? So
Mhm.
even people like what's his name, Aaron, are included in this. And I will just say,
Yeah.
those names are out there. Their tasks are different, but my task is to shield you. That is the purpose of Kethras.
I think Bidri gets up and he says, and he like looks at Sri, and then he looks at Clem, and then he looks at Mushfiq, opens his mouth, closes it, and then just leaves, closes the wardrobe behind him, and I think you can hear him running up the stairs saying, "Ma, God's in the house."
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we'll see what happens with that as I bring Moonlit in to explain what the
Uh-huh.
significance of the situation. But I leave the
Yes.
3 of you there
Uh-huh.
to sort it out for now.
I will put my hand on Mushfiq's prosthetic arm, and I think you feel that immediately. There's a sense, maybe not of safety, but of someone who's got your back.
Yes. This is this unseen aid from Sekiro.
Yes, indeed.
Um, well, yeah, I think Mushfiq does feel that, and it is somewhat reassuring, but I think he's also concerned about Saeeda, and he says that if Saeeda's ending brought you about, what does it mean she's gone?
They have gone where you cannot follow. I have been tasked to prevent you from following. I do not know where they have gone, but in going, they brought me.
I think, and then Mushfiq, his face is quite troubled. I think he goes, but we need to do like a proper sending off. And then it occurs to him that most of the proper sending off in this group was done by Saeeda, and he doesn't even really know all of them. And I think he's feeling a bit lost, actually. Just what am I supposed to do? Someone just I'm being told someone's gone, and you can't even do the rituals for them.
Yeah, and I think I will just say, mourning is appropriate, but all things must end. That is the lesson that she has bequeathed. And then I think, I think that I'm just going to close my eyes, because clearly a lot of what is like the Bound in Darkness stuff, the linking stuff, is happening also to some extent through me. And sure, I was brought here by Saeeda, but you know what? There's 4 other names. Who's to say that 4 other people did not also go through their own odysseys and so that they could bring in 4 other fragments of the prince? Anything is possible. All I know is that I now have a lot of voices in my head that I have to figure out how to ignore or deal with.
Quite possibly it was preordained that Moss would go back to Kethris because Moss has met someone else like Saeeda there.
Yes,
who is now one of the other 5, right? Possibly there is someone over there. Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
Indeed. Okay, Bidruhi comes back with Moonlit, unless you want to add more to the scene before that happens.
Yeah, how is Clem reacting? I am interested in this.
I mean, so am I. You're right.
I think Clem still has the blade of that Severus, the butterfly knife, at Shree's throat.
In some ways, I'm unconcerned, because the ritual that Saeeda did when we were out in the Deathlands was to give those warriors an ending, and they did that in part by slitting their throats. It's pretty fucked up, not gonna lie. But this is almost, therefore, not almost, this is appropriate. This is, in many ways, like if you did this now, it would be the most appropriate thing.
Entirely possible that your throat can be slit and nothing will happen to you.
Also possible, yes, indeed.
I wonder if we find that out now.
Yeah, indeed. As I think we mentioned earlier, I definitely am playing the vampire playbook. Or, I mean, I've renamed it Idol, but, you know.
Yeah.
So, almost certainly you are not seeing a concern, I guess, for my own well-being.
Yeah, so would you say you're outside of life and death then?
Oh, man.
Because I've got an ability that says, I'm imagining... What do you see then when you see Clem?
Oh, shit. Yes.
So this ability
oh, my
reads,
God.
things that are outside of life and death see you as one of their own. You are immune to supernatural terror. Mm-hmm.
Yes, incredible. I will tell you what I see, and you do with that what you will. I see a forge, and I see someone working this forge, and you hear what seems like a poem, which says, the hammer says to the hand, why do you beat me so? A day will come when it is I that will beat me. And that is, I think, so it is not just like seeing, but it is also like hearing. And perhaps this is why I have no concern, because you are like me. You already understand, right?
Could you say what you said again? Because I didn't get it.
Sure. The hammer says to the hand, "Why do you beat me?
Mm.
For a day will come when it is I that beats you."
Mushfiq says, "Are you sure you don't say that? A very Saeeda thing to say."
I inhabit Saeeda's body, which is now mine. And who is to say that it is the soul that is the true being and not the body?
Oh, indeed.
And I think I grip the blade with my right hand. And as I curl my fingers around it, I will say, "Hesitation does not suit you, but we all mourn."
So, Saeeda's flesh is your flesh. But their end is not your end.
That end was my beginning.
Then tell me, Shri and Kethris, who will be your end?
And you see a smile, a very strange smile on Saeeda's face, because Saeeda never smiled like this. Because this is puzzled delight. And Sri says, "I don't know. Isn't that exciting?"
Would someone like to say something?
No, I think this may be the time for Moonlit to appear.
I was about to suggest, if people are okay with it in this moment, I think Moonlit and Bidri.
I
Yes.
think so. It's getting real weird.
Mhm.
Stack up.
Yeah, so Moonlit, with her heavy steps, comes into the room and sees what has happened. And I think she falls, like, Saeeda is standing up now, right? But she's still being held at knife point.
Yes.
And she, like, so I don't think she falls down by your side, but there's definitely a movement, like a lurching towards you, as if she's about to fall down in, like, reverence, right? But instead she approaches you and she takes your hand, seemingly ignoring the blade and all of the strangeness that is going on. And I think there's a strange emotion coming over her. It's like somewhere between like religious ecstasy and anger. And she says, "So, this is what she's brought about, Saeeda. That stubborn old goat wouldn't even let us afford a burial." And she looks up with the idea that, like, you've changed so much, and now we can't even give you a funeral.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, we will no longer be buried in the way that we were.
We will no longer this, we will no longer that. So much has changed. There's a big tree flying over the big fire the Uduashans keep. A big tree flying over there, in the air. Not even decency enough to have its roots in the soil and the water. How much more will you change?
Mother, what is this? I say, gesturing at Ankethris. Because I trust Moonlit to have a legible answer.
Yeah.
For
She
whatever
looks-
bullshit that Ankethris is saying.
Yeah. She looks at Saeeda, and what she says, and I think she is angry and like disgusted at this, but she realizes it, right? She says, this is an ancestor tree, except it's up and walking in a human body, and I don't like it.
That is what she used to make me.
Yeah.
Kethris is an ancestor tree in a human body?
Well, I don't claim to understand these things, but like I said, Saeeda always wanted to change things. Saeeda always was stubborn. And now Saeeda is dead. And instead of her body joining with the soil and with the trees, Saeeda has made their body into this. So I suppose there are no more trees, and this is the next best thing. Is that what you want to say? She stares down Rian.
Yeah. I can say nothing, but that I may have a sibling even now in Kethris working to resume a new kind of tree.
He looks almost defeated, and she says, like, well, I hope that your sibling back in Kethris has roots in the soil. And here in Udwasha, there's no soil good enough. My daughter tried to grow a tree here, it didn't work. So I suppose you are the next best thing, even if I don't like it.
I think Bidruhi is getting increasingly frustrated
Mm-hmm.
because we are not getting clarity. We're just getting more bullshit. I think he stands forward and says, "Are you god, demon, spirit, ghost, saint?"
May I perform a little experiment to get some clarity?
Oh god, what?
Mushfiq is very. Mushfiq was initially troubled, but the idea that Anketris might be a tree in human form is very interesting.
Uh-huh.
And for him, the trees are very important, right?
Yeah.
And everything that Mulit said, the trees don't grow here. We've been
Mhm.
separated from our roots.
Yeah.
And he digs into his pockets a bit, and then he pulls out one of the master bananas and then gently taps it on Ketris and to see if there's any kind of resonance.
Oh man, there must be resonance. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god.
Yeah, well, as you said, you are in your aspect of beginnings now, right?
Yes.
And a banana is a beginning. So
Indeed.
touched to the flesh of this strange divinity, the banana sprouts. Like, it's not a seedless banana, there are seeds in it.
Mhm.
So it sprouts. It begins, as it were.
I think Bidruhi just looks at that,
Mm-hmm.
kind of just stares at it, as though you might stare at, like, I don't know, finding that your cat has puked up on the carpet.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just looking at that for a while, and then he turns back to Sri Anketris and gives a big sigh and says, "Very cool. Are you on our side?"
I am always, now and forever on your side.
Did you kill Ustad Saeeda?
No.
Okay. Will you fight with us in what comes ahead? In the name of Kethris.
Where you lead, I follow.
Okay. And betrays like his sighing and his like enforcing calm into himself. And then he looks at Clem and he asks, "Sibling Clem, please lower the knife. This is not Ustad Saeeda, and this is not responsible for Ustad Saeeda's passing."
And I think before Clem lowers the knife, I asked, where's the one I gave the person whose flesh you're using? Sure, it's me.
Yeah, I flick it out expertly in a motion you've seen Saeeda do 1,000 times. Because it may not be familiar to Sri, but it is familiar to Saeeda's body.
Mm.
It is here. It says you carry its sibling.
I do.
Yeah.
Then, in a way, we are also siblings, are we not?
I suppose we are. If the prince is a star, then we are siblings. Sri and Cathris. And we will end together. As siblings do.
Then I look forward to that day. For when we end, we begin.
I think, Clem sheaths the knife.
Bidre gives a sigh of relaxation. And then again in that very calm, forced calm voice says, okay. Now that everyone is satisfied, insofar as we can be, let us have a wake for Ustad Saeeda come tomorrow. We must mark this passing before we can move onward to the next matter at hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ma, is it okay if we do it at yours? Here, I mean.
Yeah, Moonlit says, I think it better be. And, well, this is what Saeeda wanted. I hope she knew what she was doing. And she stares at this impossible thing before her, which is Moonlit is in a precarious position because she's a very religious woman, and this is sort of the religious thing she's been waiting for, except it has arrived in a shape she does not recognize that is not at all aligned with her traditions. So yeah, she's very conflicted about all this. But she will, of course, hold a wake for Saeeda. It is the decent thing to do.
Do you eat, sleep, use the bathroom?
I have never been in this body before. Did Saeeda?
Yes, she was a person. Okay. Just wondering if it makes sense, if it would be a good idea for you to meet the people tomorrow at the wake. Or if you could, I don't know, lock you in this broom closet until it is safe to bring you out. But no, what am I saying? You are not a weapon. You are a person too. Of sorts. Please.
Yeah, I think Moonlit, though, cuts in and she goes no, it's not decent for a person's corpse to walk around at their wake. You're not coming.
But where
and I think I will say, in that case, there is a different person whom I may wish to see. The body says something about a mango. I wish to taste this. And I think I'm going to go hang out with the umpire.
You are not going out in Uduasha on your own, okay? But we have to be at the wake. It's all right.
Then I shall ask the being to come here, if that is acceptable to you.
No. Okay.
Very well.
Oh dear.
Then I shall remain here.
Yeah. Moonlit says, you can wait a day. It's only decent.
I think Bidre just got his hands in his head, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Sri and Cathris is in house arrest.
Yes. And is then meeting with the fucking Empire. So that's...
I mean, yeah.
Well, listen, the umpire can meet you after the wake. We don't want the umpire at the wake.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know what this week will involve, but I think it might be an opportunity to have conversations with people.
Umpire from the embarrassing part of the family tree.
Yeah, and it's also possible that we will in fact introduce them to Sri and Cathris, but I don't think the vibe is best to just have them be like, "Oh yes, Saeeda's dead. Also, don't worry about this person."
Mm-hmm.
No, definitely. I honestly think that the kind of person Sri seems to be shaping up to be, it's totally fine if for them to just be like, I'm gonna sit here. It's totally fine, man. I will look at this paint dry on this door. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, the problem is twofold, right? There's obviously the funeral, but there's also the fact that we're trying to unite people under this Kethrisi cause, and you would be the perfect figurehead. But also, as soon as you make your debut, several hundred people are going to burst in with supernatural guns.
Yes.
So
Yes, I mean, too perfect a figurehead. That's the problem, right? Like, so perfect a figurehead that it's an obvious target.
Yes.
Mm.
So that's also why you shouldn't go wandering on your own outside Uduasha, outside in Uduasha.
Very well.
Yeah. You know what? Bidre has no real solutions for any of this. He has not been equipped to deal with the sudden arrival of a manifestation. For the sudden arrival of his Ussa to turn into an avatar of his god. He has not been properly prepped and readied for this. That side is figured, let's be honest.
Yeah, I was going to
And
say,
we have
a
to-
poor
we have to
showing
deal
on the
with-
part of your teacher, it seems.
Yes. We'll just have to wing it using the best possible judgment.
Indeed.
And at this,
Can we have 3 pretend to be Saeeda for a while somehow? Just to
That's
to be the
worse,
show.
though, right?
let's
I
keep her
think
in the
it's
closet
very
for now.
funny,
Yeah.
but it's worse.
Yeah,
Let's just keep
it
her in
is.
the closet for now.
It is worse. Also, I want to push back against it because I think it's cool if everyone who is part of this religion just like kind of recognizes Sri as supernatural,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I feel like
That's
that's a
Yeah,
thing.
no.
So-
Yeah.
No, it should be. I think everyone should just go like, God, what are you doing here?
Yeah, pretty much. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Don't
but-
go knocking on doors asking for God if you're not prepared for God to answer.
Yeah.
We'll
Well-
see, because the problem here is basically, Tree, you set this entire thing up, and now we have to deal
Yes.
with it.
Correct.
Yes, and we
Correct.
don't know what to do with it.
No.
So I'm just going to do things with it. So you're going to be in
Yes.
the closet,
Let's do the
And-
wake, and
Yes.
I think
and then figure it out
so-
from there.
yeah, and Sri meeting with the umpire is good. I think.
Yeah.
Sure.
And at the wake, there will be people who can have other scenes. So I think the wake itself is not something that will spotlight overly much.
Yeah, just scenes within it.
Yeah. So the wake itself is, there's food, there is people gathering up, there is whatever traditions Kethris has for when a
Mhm.
person dies. And actually,
Well-
it's interesting enough to paint the scene about that a little bit. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we should in fact do that. So, I'll start with asking Tree because you have the body in question. So,
Yes.
at the wake, the body may or may not be present. I think that differs,
Mhm.
and it's not too strange
Mhm.
to not have the body present. But what is done to the body in preparation for it being joined with the roots in a traditional funeral?
That's a good question. I think that in order for the person's spirit to integrate the best, right, into the roots and the spirits of their ancestors and so on, they are usually I don't want to say slathered, but there is some kind of paste rubbed on the body, and unguent, maybe that's a fun word.
Yeah.
And I think this paste is traditionally made of the roots of the tree in question, but obviously at the moment that's not really possible, and so instead what people in Uduasha use is roots that come from Kethris, and they know that it's not going to go back, but it's still that's what you do for the wake, so that's what you would do.
Yeah. Makes sense. Mushfiq, I think I'll ask this question because I think it's interesting from Mushfiq, who is a bit of a traditionalist, right? Who normally arranges the funerals and the wake? What's that person's role? Are they some sort of priest? Is it a funerist special class or caste? What sort of person or people would normally be presiding over a wake like this?
Kind of person would be presiding. Yeah, I feel like it's not really led by because I think it's the family unit isn't quite so important in Kethris because I mean after all we all share the name of the village, right?
Yeah.
So I think it does make sense that there is someone within whose job it is, and
Would it be Al-Qadar?
It might be Al-Qadar now, but I'm curious about what the traditional
Oh,
role.
traditionally.
I think I would say this is not a political rule. It's a more spiritual one, right? So I actually don't think it would be Al-Qadir.
Yeah, makes sense.
There's a lore keeper.
Yes, there
Yeah,
is a lore keeper, and
Yeah.
I was trying to find their name, but I think it would be the lore keeper because I think there is something about. I mean, in the case of Saeeda now, it's a bit complicated, but I think normally, like a person dies, their spirit goes into the tree, or like supposedly their memories are essentially being stored, right? So it makes sense for a lore keeper to be the one who deals with stuff like this.
Yeah, probably speaks their name and like keeps the oral tradition of like, the tree remembers the person, but I will remember their deeds kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So someone who would go around and collect stories and such. And I suppose you have the lore keeper at this funeral, despite everything that's going on, it's traditions must be kept to. And so Bidrohi, who is the sartorial person, what is the funeral clothes and decorations like at this wake? Like, what do people traditionally wear? And how is the space changed, decorated, all that?
People wear crowns of flowers and leaves to symbolize that one day they will also be taken by the trees.
Beautiful.
Is that why Bidrohi wears a flower crown?
No.
Okay.
He wears it because he likes it. But it's also very Ketrisi.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I imagine the Ketrisi wear these for lots of important occasions. Like they're probably worn for weddings and things too. It's just a connection to like both past and future to wear flower crowns. So
yeah, that's cool.
The food is vegan and leaning heavily on fruits, insofar as we can find them right now.
Well, I mean, we have a farm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So a lot of fresh produce and so on. As whatever Moonlit can muster on a short notice. Well, we are a tier 2 crew. We can probably manage a decent feast on short notice. Some of that. What was it? Rice wine we were having. There's plenty of that. A lot of Ketrisi tea, swampy brews, as we established way back when. That sort of thing.
Yeah. Very good. And Clem, lastly, what in the treatment of the dead contrasts from your own traditions with the Ketrisi tradition so much that it almost shocks you or confuses you?
It feels like there is a ceremony here, and in Severus, it's sky burial, and then they are left. There is not much there. It's perfunctory. You're left outside the bounds of the group, and that's where you will return. There is little need to acknowledge anything else. And this is a whole production.
Yeah. Makes sense. I ask this question because, stepping aside, I feel like in the real world, funeral traditions tend to be the things that differ the most between cultures. They can differ hugely. So, yeah. So we have sky burials there, and this is very different, obviously. It's a whole production. You have the body being prepared in a different room, which is what people which is supposed to happen. It's not happening now, but yeah. So it probably feels unusual for Clem, even aside the fact that it is unusual because Saeeda's body has been taken over by the spirit of by the name of a prince. But
yeah, I think I'm expected to explain what happened. So I do.
Yeah. And I think it's one of these things, right, where I don't want to linger too long on your explaining what happened, but you hold a speech and you explain this whole incarnation. And I think it makes sense.
No, I'm lying to them.
Oh, okay.
Great.
I'm not going to tell them God suddenly manifested.
Okay.
And is currently being Saeeda.
So what story do you tell?
That Saeeda was consumed by the wildfire or something. That Saeeda... Well, actually, no. It's something like Saeeda goes off on her weird peregrinations all the time. People know that she's spending way too much time near Duludu. Also, all sorts of weird shit. And then Saeeda just left on one of her things, and didn't come back, and because we all felt something, have we not? We have
Yeah.
all been feeling something. We have felt on that note. I felt her passing.
Yeah.
And we are in momentous times, and there is no time to waste. But we must take a pause for this to remember our Ustad, and hence calling everyone for breakfast. And Bidre seems like genuinely shaken, so he's not like elaborating further. And he is in fact shaken, partly by the pressure of coming up with this lie in the last minute.
Yeah, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think now at this event is probably a good place to reintroduce Zahir,
Yes.
who obviously would be here just because like it's a funeral in the community. He wasn't particularly close to Saeeda, but he knew Saeeda, you know. So
Yeah. As a player, I kind of I think should have brought Zahir in more. I kind of just forgot about him, but let's make it diegetic. Let's just say Mushfiq was too too shaken up with all the Shahid thing to see his friend.
I feel like you have both been busy on opposite ends. I mean, it's a big city. You've been pulled apart. These things happen, right? You just don't see a friend for a long time, even though you have because you have something important to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Zahir. Okay, yeah. The thing I think that opens the scene and that like makes this tense right away is he says, "We never held a wake for our Ustad, did we?" And he like tips his hand that he knows that Ustad Shahid, is dead and maybe more about it, but he says it kind of solemnly, as this is a solemn occasion, right?
Okay, and I think Mushfiq thinks about this for a while and recalls all that was said between him and Usad, and he goes, "No, I don't think we could have. After all, Usad Shahid was lost long ago. The man I met down with the fire speakers was not him."
Yeah. Well, at least. Actually, I don't know. Maybe meeting him isn't better. I just hope for some closure, I suppose.
And then Mushfiq goes, "How do you remember Ustad?"
That's the thing. I know he died long ago. But out in the street now, talking to the people, hearing the news on the street, I feel like I've never remembered him so well. I feel like his spirit is out there, you know? And it never was when he was alive. There were few of us. Our resistance, it was never everyone. Now I feel like everyone's suddenly talking about Kethris. It's weird, isn't it?
I think chuckles a bit because he goes, "Yeah, I mean, at the time it felt like we were having to just like fight against just our own fight against our like half the fight it seemed was just to get people on board that something was possible, that we could win. And now here we are. It feels possible again, and I didn't think we'd get here, and it's I guess we're here. We've just gotta do it. And
Yeah.
like, and you know, I know like it's a lot saying a whole lot of nothing, but I think like that is the mood.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
the mood. Yeah, Zaire kind of
Yeah.
grunts and nods, and he says, "I feel you. I think it is possible now." And well, we're at a wake. We've lost someone. It's a sad thing, but I want you to know. I don't know what's going to happen in the days and weeks ahead. I feel like a lot. I feel like change is coming. But if something were to happen to you, my friend, do you want to be buried in the traditional way? Or... And he looks at you quite earnestly. I think this is one of those uncomfortable things you haven't talked about for a while, right? You probably discussed it back in the military because it's a subject that comes up. But that was a long time ago and in a different country. So...
And yeah, Mushfiq thinks how this goes that if Mushfiq thinks about it, then he goes, well, if you can find enough of if I die, and if you can find enough of me to do a traditional burial, then yeah, I think I'd like to go back to Kethris one last time.
All right, it's a deal then, brother, he says, and he takes your hand and shakes it. I want the same. Whichever of us dies first, the other will take him back home. If possible, if we can. I can make no promises, but I will try for you. And I'd like you to do the same for me.
Mushfiq is trying to make a brave face, but you know, you can kind of see his mouth quaver just a little bit, and he goes, and you know, he nods and he goes, yeah. And then he does let out like a breath and he goes, one way or another, we're going home.
Aye. We're going home, he says, and he looks towards Bidruhi making the speech, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and maybe that's the scene.
Well,
I
there's
think.
a bit more.
Uh-huh.
You mean the scene with Zahir? Or the wake?
Yeah,
I think with the wake.
I meant the scene. No, there's more in the wake. I just meant like this conversation with Zahir. I think we can conclude there.
Okay. Excellent. I think I think I would like to reveal Ankethris, but like not in front of everyone. I think like our most like the most solid inner circle, as it were. So our gang, Al-Qadr, I suppose. Well, I think at this point, Al-Qadr has to count as the inner circle.
Yeah. And does this happen? Does this happen at the wake itself? Like, do you take them aside?
Yeah.
So it happens at the same time. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's less about. I think there's probably a signal for the public to leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think before
once
that, however,
breakfast is over, people are gonna, I think, start milling out, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we also don't want the core people to leave, right? So I think but before that, I want to have a quick aside with Mumtaz, who was invited. Would she have come? That's the first question. It's quite short notice. I mean, she's not Ketrisi, but she knows Saeeda. This is obviously sad for me.
Okay, yeah, she would have come. I think. I'm just wondering if this sets up a different scene to happen first, but we'll see. Maybe it doesn't. She is here. I think she's not Ketrisi. She doesn't know the traditions. She has dressed as instructed, wearing the flower crown and whatever colors are considered appropriate. But I think she's definitely like, the vibe is she's a little bit like overdressed, a little bit like more ostentatious than everyone else because she just can't help it. Like she's dialed it down, she's tried, but she can't dial it down all the way.
I mean, she shouldn't need to. She looks so good. Why would you make her do this? You wouldn't.
Yeah, no one would. I think so. Bidruhi and Mumtaz, I think they have met since he came back. We didn't have that on screen, but they must have met. And I think it was probably like a very brief, another one of those like very brief, like kind of like reunions before he. What? I think like they've been like talking about this revolution thing a little bit, but I think there's a decent bit
I will also point out I will also point out that you've been less separated this time since you were in a luxury prison cell. So like you've been able to exchange letters and stuff. You've probably been able to update her on things even while inside the cell.
Yeah.
You know? So,
But I feel like this is what my second disappearance.
yeah.
Right? And we have had conversations about like the future and so on. So I think now there's an unspoken sort of air of like the last days
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing. But she's here, and I think I will have a full conversation with her later. But I think for now, I'm just going to take her aside, and I'm going to say, "You, of course, you know, Mumtaz, that what I just said was a big lie about Dostad and what became of her.
I had a feeling.
I can never lie to you. You're much more trained at spotting such things and speaking such things than I am." And he says this with zero rancor, but like just admiration. You know, it's just a fact.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then he squeezes her hand and says, "Everything that I've been talking about for a while, the revolution, all these things, all the things that Ustad Saeeda has been talking about, the things I came to you and told you that I don't understand. Well, I still don't understand them, but it's happened. The chickens have finally come home to roost, and oh, you've probably been hearing word on the street that people are looking to see what's looking into the Ketri Sea. Something's about to happen, and I want us to be proactive, not reactive. But I'm going to make an announcement in front of everyone who really matters for now, our most trusted. You will understand that after this, I don't know what's going to happen between you and I, but I may not be here." Sorry. She can react first.
Yeah, she sighs softly and she gives like a faint, almost playful but also sad smile, and she says, I know, I saw it all, remember? The visions. Saeeda inflicted them on me somehow. And this was way back during the score where Saeeda got stabbed. Mumtaz got visions of the Prince of Endings.
Mm-hmm. I think Bidrej is going to look at her and, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to indulge my voice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her a hug and a kiss in front of everyone, including my mom.
Yes, and as you do that, your mom looks shocked. This is hardly the time or place.
It's not a makeout. It's just tender.
Yes,
slow,
I know.
You know?
I know.
Establishing.
But it's still hardly the time or place.
Yeah,
there's like your mom looks shocked, and then you hear everyone hears, I think, in the like small silence that ensues, a noise from the door, and it's let me in, damn it! I'm here to pay my respects.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
And
I'm going to indulge my voice, and then we'll see how bad this is.
Yes, and it's Jacko. She's here.
Okay, I overindulged.
You overindulged. Perfect. So then Jackal stumbles in and sees you kissing Mumtaz and looks around the room. And I think what Jackal does is that she looks at Bidrehi first, who is clearly the person she's here to see. And she has brought along, like she's wearing the flower crown. So she's really like trying to pay respects here. She has brought whatever is customary to like bring to such an event. But I think her eyes go to Bidrehi and then they go to Clem, because there's still kind of bad blood between Jackal and Clem. And how does Clem react to Jackal crashing the funeral?
This is just a kid, right? Like Jackal's what?
Well, she's sort
20?
of Bidrehi's age. Yeah.
No, mid-20s. She's a bit older than me.
Okay, a little bit older than Bidrehi, but yeah, she's still an impulsive street tough. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a kid.
Also a war veteran. Well, love, you know.
Well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
How does Clem react to her crashing in? Because I mean, yeah, there's history here.
Clem's attention is on when Mushfiq is over by Zahir.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah. So we'll get back to that.
Hmm?
But it's you're not like Jackal, seeing that Clem isn't about to stop her. She steps up to Bidruhi and she just says like, "Sorry, thought I should pay my respects. Maybe now's a bad time."
I think there was a time when Bidre was like, tongue-tied and awkward, and that time was very recent still, in front of Jackal, and he still has a lot of respect for her and so on. But I think the events of the last few sessions have kind of like given him more perspective. So I think he just gives Jackal a smile and says, "Thank you for coming, Jackal. You heard what happened to those stud, I guess. Oh, have you met Mumtaz? I don't remember if they did actually.
No, I don't think they have. They've been like competing over your affections, but they haven't actually met. So she looks at her and goes, "I have not had the pleasure."
Jackal, Mumtaz. Jackal is my number one badass rival. Mumtaz is my number one badass lover.
Yeah, Jackal's eyes narrow, and she she looks over the situation somewhat awkwardly, and Mumtaz also looks like awkward at having been interrupted, right?
Yeah,
and she kind of like clings to you and a little bit behind you, I think, and there's this long moment as the two women wait for you to do something, pretty much.
Okay. I think I'm going to size Jackal up. I'm going to be like, Jackal, I know that Ustad Saeeda used to be our main spokesperson with your community. How are people reacting to the news? How are you reacting to the news?
Well, it's bad news. Like you said, main spokesperson. I thought it was only right one of us come here to pay respects, but the Bob said, "Ain't our religion, ain't our culture, ain't our place." But listen, Bidrahi. With Saeeda no longer with us, I feel you and I ought to deepen our bond.
Okay.
You and I ought to make sure there ain't no more bad blood between our communities, you know? So
I would love that.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm trying to come here to bury the hatchet between us. For old Saeeda's sake.
I think Bidre extends his hands and there's like some tears in his eyes, and he kind of he does like the double handshake, at both hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. On what I assume are her very leathery palms. And I think then he with genuine feeling he says, "Jackal, you know the bit about being my number one badass rival. That's how things used to be. Things are different now. What bad blood there is between us, I think, I have hoped for a long time, pales in comparison to the things that are coming. And I'm glad that we can have truce. But if you would stay a little longer, there is something that I think I would trust you with. This information I would trust you with, and for you to relate to the Bob. And please make of it then what you will, but you will see." I am. Yeah, I think even though Bidre is stumbling over his words, he's trying to convey the idea that like he's ready to bring Jackal into the actual inner sanctum.
Yeah. However that will go.
Yep.
And now you have both Jackal and Mumtaz here. This things are going well.
And so I think I'm almost ready to debut Ankethris.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
Clem was eyeing Mushfiq. Was that a thing?
Yeah, should we do that scene first?
Yeah. Come on. Give me a second, though. Still at the wake.
Mm-hmm.
Clem was
Hmm.
looking Mushfiq's way at the wake, and it seemed like there was a scene there. I don't know if you want to set it up, Clem?
This isn't like a good a place as any to talk about feelings.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, is it Mushfiq who approaches Clem, or is it Clem who approaches Mushfiq?
I think it makes sense for Mushfiq to approach Clem because
Mm.
all the talk about. I mean, especially after all the talk about death and being buried with Sahir. Okay. If Mushfiq, if Clem catches Mushfiq's eye, I think maybe Mushfiq kind of looks away just for a second, but he he steadies his nerve and he walks up to Clem and then he just goes makes a little gesture with his head as like to say that do you think we could talk alone, like away from this for a second?
And I think perhaps we go to because this is happening in the lair, right underneath Memphis Pie's house.
No, this is at the Moonlit boarding room.
Okay, so
Yeah.
because Mushfiq lives here, are we going into his private chambers? Perhaps.
Sure. I mean, wherever seems. I don't think.
Yeah,
matters.
somewhere
Yeah.
private.
Somewhere private. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
But I think that would be nice actually, because I don't think Clem has ever been here, and
No.
it's kind of. I think. Yeah. They could go up to Mushfiq's room, and we've said that it's very austere. He still lives a bit like like he's a soldier. It's very much like that. And once he's there, I think Mushfiq starts to talk. First, he's probably looking down at Clem's feet, and then eventually looks up at their face, and he says that Clem, I mean, it's no secret, I don't think, at this point, that I like you, and I do care about you a lot. And I've tried to not really come to terms with that. And I've thought about why, and I think it's due with the fact that people that I like and care about have a tendency to die, and it's usually my fault when that happens, and I wouldn't want that to happen again. But I've seen you out there, and you seem like you're not going to die. I mean, not that I wouldn't like you if you did die. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah.
And I think that Clem just goes, "Oh, Mushfiq, you don't need to say anything." And I think straight up just pins him up against, because I imagine Clem's walked into the room, Mushfiq has closed the door and said this, and Clem just goes, "Oh, shut up," and kisses him right up against the door.
Oh.
Incredible. I love it.
You know what would make this the perfect scene?
Do not
If-
come into this. Do not Bidroy, stay away, please. Do not come
No.
in.
What if Sri and Kethris has been stashed in the closet in this room?
No.
Saeeda doesn't.
No.
Tree doesn't get the cook chair
No.
as well.
No. What would make the scene perfect is how it is exactly as it is.
Okay,
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. I
Okay.
agree.
Yeah.
perfect.
Mhm.
And I
The
think
scene is perfect.
Yeah, and I'll say that Mushfiq. I think he just gives he just gives into it, right? Like the shields, like the walls that he puts up, they just melt away, right? Like finally, I think something feels right.
Mm. And I think when they break the kiss, Clem rests their forehead against Mushfiq's. I have a wife, but
Mushfiq goes,
I
I've been
well,
trying not to think about that too much as well.
Let him finish.
Yeah.
I can love two people at once.
No, Clem, no. Please continue.
Yeah.
Please continue.
I want you to bury me, and I want to bury you, and that's and that's a soldier's way of saying I love you, I suppose. We have fought together, and you came back for me. I told you to go, and you came back for me. Mushfiq, you came back.
And Mushfiq goes, yeah. Well, of course I did. Of course I did. I think Mushfiq will. It looks up at Clem. I think I say Mushfiq's looking up. I think Clem is actually quite a bit taller, right? Mushfiq's been under like fed for much of his life. I don't think he's very tall. Yeah, and it looks into Clem's eyes and he says that, and well, what he was saying with Zahir about like having fought so hard to actually make something possible and now it feels possible, and he's thinking about that and he says that we don't have to. I don't think we have to talk about burying each other. We're gonna win.
We're going to win. I believe you. And if we... No. I believe you. We're going to end up winning. We're going to end up fucking winning. Because you said so. I... Thank you. You've given me a cause.
Yeah, I think Mushfiq just holds Clem close for a while, and yeah, I think that could be that.
Perfect.
Beautiful scene. That
Yeah.
was so good. I know we set this up for a long time, but that was so good, you guys.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Clem says some beautiful things and then some horrible things at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Perfect.
so well delivered.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, let's go kill Tavira while Clem's not looking.
Well,
I still need to indulge my vice.
Yeah. You gotta do that. Yeah, we know you wanna do that.
uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
dear.
Clem has two hands.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
For now.
It's yeah. Tamira might see to that. I don't know. She seems like kind of a horrible person, but but anyway,
Mhm.
maybe you can fix her. Who knows?
How many ticks on the long-term project to fix my wife?
Oh yeah, that's a long. That it may take a while.
Salt is asking just so that they can not do that project.
Yes.
Mm.
What's next on the agenda? I suppose that is Bidrohi talking to the inner circle, as it were.
Yeah, I think so.
Anything
That's
else?
all right. I was just
All
going to say that the book says long-term projects are for doing whatever you like, but I don't think fixing Chimera actually falls within that remit.
Here close the doors to the house of endings. Those who dwell within are Zoheb, called Klow, Aadiyat, called Zoheb, Samitri, called Tree, and Salty. I have been Prince, your host. Our city of Uduasha is based on Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions, with special thanks to Johnstone Metzger. Follow us on Twitter or support us on kofi.com/desperateattune. If you want to engage further with us, we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/desperateattune, where you will get our newsletter, extra content, and updates from Uduasha.
On the next episode of Desperate Attune.
I'm not normally prone to sharing.
Mushfiq says, neither am I.
Incredible.
She's seen the way Mushfiq ate those chicken nuggets and knows she can't compete.
Mushfiq's plate is like spotless, but she's still got some sauce on hers.
Yeah, amateur hour.
Yeah. In fact, are there any crumbs on Tamira's plate? She's gonna take it.